Good morning, everybody. Sorry I'm a bit late today. It was one of those days. So, how to sell in a crisis without feeling desperate, sleazy, salesy, or guilty. I think that's one of the things a lot of us are struggling with at the moment. Certainly, some of the things that some of our clients are struggling with at the moment. I've had several conversations with people who are just not feeling very comfortable at the moment, not feeling very comfortable selling. So they've taken a bit of a step back, they've relaxed a little bit. Or there's others who have really taken the bull by the horn and just killed their sales. They're just absolutely booming at the moment, which is, as an accountant, is fantastic to see. So let's look at what we're going to learn today. So today we're going to look at how we feel about selling and why sales feels dirty and what we can do about that. I'm going to talk you through 6 ways on how to make the sale without feeling sleazy or salesy or uncomfortable or guilty, and when to say no. Sometimes we just don't want the sale. So we're all about the profit, and we're going to look at that just a little bit later. And why you should not discount, even in a crisis, and how to avoid that. And then if there's any questions at the end, do let me know. So I'm Lisa Dixon, Chartered Management Accountant, Master's degree in Business Admin. Love doing that. If I'm going to study something, I like to come out with a qualification at the end of it to make it worth my while. So I've got lots and lots of them. Otherwise, I get too lazy and I don't do the work. So I absolutely love rock music. Should have been at Download this month, but unfortunately it was cancelled. So boo to that. And maybe we'll go next year. I don't know. I did hear that Kiss was doing a live show online, so need to find out a little more about that one. I absolutely love Marmite. I'm vegetarian, just trying the keto diet at the moment, so if I fall asleep halfway through, you'll know why. And if I don't, you'll also know why, because actually, keto was supposed to be super tiring in the first few days, but I just feel full of energy, so that's a good thing, isn't it? We like that. I don't like the word can't. So if you say it, you can give me a slap, because I really don't believe in the word can't. I'm sure that everything, as Marie Forleo says, is figure outable. My goal long term is to be a digital nomad. Maybe not at the moment. It's not very nice to be out and circulate at the moment, is it? So we're all on lockdown, hiding away. Actually, that's more of my husband's goal, to be a digital nomad, but that's cool. I suppose where he goes, I go. Normally we have Harry working as well, but he's at home on lockdown. He's working from home, socially isolating. So we won't see him today, but maybe he'll be back in a few weeks' time. So how to get the most out of this masterclass. So I run this little slideshow every time we do a masterclass. It's really, really important. If you're going to spend and invest half an hour or 45 minutes in your time watching a masterclass, you want to get something tangible out of it. You need to make sure your time profits from investing in that masterclass. So this is how we're going to do it. You need to figure out what type of learner you are. Are you an enthusiastic Eve who buys everything? You're a course junkie, you start everything, but you never really finish anything. And I'm not like that. Are you a consumer Carl who invests, reads, consumes, but not really very confident, so never really ready and doesn't take action? Or are you an action Annie? Are you someone who buys it, you consume it, you plan what you're going to do with it, and then you take action? Because if you are an action Annie, or you can behave like an action Annie, then you will get more out of this masterclass and any other masterclass that you learn or take. So understand why you're here. What made you stop? What made you watch this webinar? What do you want to get out of it? So what is your why? So in this case, I'm guessing if you're watching Selling in a Crisis, it's because you're not selling as well as you think you ought to be, or you feel uncomfortable selling at the moment and it feels a bit awkward. And so we want to help give you some strategies to help you overcome that and help you getting you selling again. So what are we going to do? We want you to remove distractions, shut the door, turn off your phones, close your email. Don't have this masterclass running in the background. Otherwise, you just won't get any value out of it and you'll have to keep watching the replay and rewinding, and it will waste more of your time to try and get that investment out of it. So what we need you to do is close your email, turn all the distractions off, and just focus on this masterclass for the next 30 minutes, remembering why you're here in the first place. So take a piece of paper, split it into 4 sections. You can write notes on the left-hand side, write your why on the bottom. So why are you here? What do you want to achieve? Make room for 3 bullet points for lessons learned. So 3 things you learn while you watch this masterclass. 3 things that you think, oh, I do that. I need to think about that. I can learn from that. I need to stop myself doing that, etc. And then 3 bullet points for actions. I want you to write down 3 things that you are going to do when you finish this masterclass. Now, if you write the lessons learned and you write the actions you're going to take out of it, you'll remember what you learnt in this masterclass long after you switch over and go away and do something else. So let's get started. How do you feel about selling? Think about it. How do you feel at the moment? Just write down how you feel. Are you feeling uncomfortable? Are you feeling sleazy? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling guilty? So everyone's struggling right now, and it might be that you're feeling that you're profiteering. So just after lockdown started and everybody started to crash, I did a Facebook ad, and it was a tiny upsell for our Profit Hackers membership club at £40 a month. And another accountant, of all people, trolled me and started asking if I was going to offer things for free, and now was a time to share with my community and not try and upsell, not try and plug. And in one line, he wrote about 3 or 4 comments on my post. And then on the 3rd or the 4th line, he just wrote the one word, profiteering. Now, profiteering at £40 for a monthly masterclass, or a monthly membership, is not really profiteering, because almost anybody who is in business, one hopes, could afford a £40 membership. Now, interestingly about this particular chap is I then responded and said, great question, and then explained what I was doing and why. And it must have worked, because 10 days later, he was running his own ads doing the very same thing at 10 times the price that I was offering. So that was a good lesson learned. Now, are you feeling desperate? Does it feel wrong? Do you feel that people are looking at you to do things for free? Are people approaching you to do stuff for free? And as business owners, there's a lot we can do for free. There's a lot we can do in free communities. There's a lot we can do on free summits. It needs to have a speculative impact to it, to give your stuff away for free, to make you launch your business or share your business with a wider audience. But ultimately, if we're going to survive in business, then what we do for free has a purpose, it has an outcome, it has a profitable point to it. Otherwise, we're just giving shit away for free, and no one's going to survive or make any profit at all, are we? So you need to try and find the right balance between what you give away for free and what you are then charging for. Could it be that you feel dirty? It feels a bit pushy, it feels a bit intrusive, it feels a bit coercive. You're trying to encourage people to part with their money, and they're already in trouble, and maybe you're feeling like you're making them in more trouble because you're pushing them to give them their money into your pocket, so you'll be fine and they won't be. And there are ways we can change the way you think about that. It could be that you're fearful. Maybe you're afraid of the no. Maybe you're afraid that your price is too high, or that you're not good enough, or it just feels sleazy to sell. Or perhaps you're bossing it. There's no fear. You've just got this and you're doing an amazing job at the moment. If that's you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from people who are really bossing it at the moment and really doing well. So what can we do about this? Once you understand why you feel a certain way, you need to kind of just get over yourself. You need to feel that fear and do it anyway. You also need to get very, very clear on what it is that your client needs, because it might be that you are the solution to the problem that they currently have. You might have the solution that they're looking for. So whilst you're afraid to ask them for the sale and you're afraid to ask them for the money for you to do that job, you're tempted to give it all away for free, they may very well be perfectly happy to pay it because they know that they're going to get the outcome they're looking for. And then finally, we need to remember that this is a short-term blip in the landscape. So business will recover, things will return, and this too will eventually pass. We also need to remember that we are in business to make a profit, to serve your customers. We need to rebuild the economy and we need to pay taxes. Communitively, or as a community of business owners, we are what is going to help put Britain back together and recover after the crisis. So we shouldn't feel shame or embarrassment or uncomfortable with making a profit. We should be able to push through that, and we should be confident and comfortable that we're making a profit, because then we're contributing both to our customers, to our own lives, to making ourselves self-sufficient, and the community at large. So why shouldn't you sell? Why shouldn't you be selling what you're doing? Why should you give it away for free? It just doesn't ring true, does it? As an entrepreneur, you should be selling your knowledge and what you know. So why does sales feel dirty? Well, some of it is because we still have a corporate mentality. And I know that when I left corporate, I really struggled with this. I was solution driven. I came from corporate where we're trained to tackle a problem and be given a solution. I mean, you don't go away and negotiate with your boss about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and whether they're going to pay you any more for it. Perhaps you're going to have a bonus on, the outcome of this work. It just doesn't really happen, does it? Your boss gives you something to do and your job is to go away and make it happen. So for entrepreneurs and business owners who have lived in corporate and have been in corporate for a long, long time, that mentality becomes a lot harder to get out of. You have to kind of change yourself, train yourself out of it and change your mindset. So you have to become a profit-driven entity. You have to think about the skill that you have, the skill you have that solves a problem. You have to understand the value of your own solution and understand what profit you need to make that makes it worth your time in doing that job or that task or working for that person. Now, one of the things I certainly struggled with when I left corporate was pricing. Because I was thinking about my total corporate salary. I wasn't thinking about building a business. Now, that's something that I soon got my head round, but to begin with, it was quite a transition, quite a transformation. So one of the things I did when I first left corporate and moved into business is I went to a seminar where I saw James Caan. And one of the things that he said loud and clear was one of the most important jobs that as an entrepreneur you have, running your own business that you have, one of the most important jobs is sales. You are a salesman. No one else is going to sell you. No one else is going to sell your stuff. It's up to you. So if you can't sell, you're screwed. Go and get a job. Except that he used a much ruder word than that. So that really made me think about what I needed to do. So I learnt to sell. Now, the other reason that sales feels dirty is because you don't value you. So if you don't value your product or your service, how on earth will your client value your product or your service? So again, this is another change of mindset where you need to understand the value of the product or the service that you're bringing. Now, first of all, the customer then needs to understand what you do, why you do it, what value you're bringing to them. And you can either talk to them directly about the value that you're bringing. Now, this is quite a difficult conversation because you don't just go to your customer and say, hello, Mr. Customer, this is the value that I'm bringing. It's something that you have to get across and something that you have to communicate without directly saying, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, because it kind of sounds a bit desperate and a bit like you're, blowing your own trumpet. And, that again feels a bit awkward. But you could talk to them in terms of stories. You could talk to them about the transformation. You could blog about it. You could vlog about it. You could stick it on Instagram, Facebook. all the social medias. And there's a VA in some of the communities that I'm present in, and she's really strong. You see 2 or 3 posts a week about the value that she brings to clients, and she does it through stories. They're almost like mini case studies. In a Facebook post, it's probably no more than 200 or 300 words. But whenever I think of a job that I could outsource, in fact, some of her stories talk about jobs that you could outsource and what they've done for a client, or the value they've brought, the additional time she's saved, being able to do something more effectively or more efficiently. She the way she phrases it in these teeny tiny little Facebook posts, which also go out onto Instagram and Pinterest and such like, really resonate in my mind. Now, I've used her a couple of times as a VA, but certainly if I was in the market for a VA, she's the first person that would pop to mind, because she's persistent and consistent with her messaging. Now, I understand her value, and I've not had a direct conversation with her. I've just picked them all up piecemeal through things that she said, and you can do the same for your business. So let's have an exercise in value. Create a mind map or a spider diagram, depending on how you've learned to do this. What value do you offer your clients through the service that you deliver? Now, repeating these and documenting these and tweeting about these and blogging about these and vlogging and Instagramming, it reminds you of what your value is, and it reminds your customer of what your value is, and your prospect and your potential customer. So think about, are you saving time? Are you creating profit? Are you delivering an outcome? Are you saving money, making money? Are you transforming something to and from something else? Are you delivering expertise, or do you help people with their feelings? Does what you do deliver a feeling or a convenience? Perhaps you're helping to improve a brand or the quality of something, or you're helping them achieve their goals. Well, if you can think of 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 things that you're doing that you help people achieve, and write a blog post about each one of those, or an Instagram post about each one of those, you've got lots of content that can go out into the world that will remind you, helps you feel confident that you're charging the right price and you should be selling even in a crisis, helps your customers and your prospects know what you're there for and why you're there, so you are front of mind then when they next come to buy something or buy something similar to your product. They'll think of you. So the other option, the other thing why we find sales difficult, is because we just don't have the skills. So we're undersold. If we just don't have that skill set, then upskill, learn them, get quoting tools, get pricing tools, make sure that your website is set up so that it sells you. Your blogs need to be selling you. Your vlogs need to be selling you. All of your posts and all your social media need to be tools that you are using to help sell your product. So you need to learn to sell. You need to learn how to pitch your product so that the client understands what it's going to do for them. You need to understand how you're going to pitch the process. So if they're thinking something is really expensive, perhaps it's just because they don't understand the process behind it. You need to pitch the transformation, how you're going to get from A to B and what that's going to feel like for them. And you need to learn to negotiate so that you're the one bartering up, not being bartered down. And that's quite a toughie. So the objective is to create a demand for something that you can convert to cash. You must have something of value that other people want, that they actually know about, and this is why it's so important to communicate and to get all that information out there, at a price they're willing to pay, that solves a problem or fills a need that that customer has, but also creates profit for you. If you can have all of the blues without the green, then you're giving it away and you've got a job. If you don't have something of value, you're not going to have any of the blues or any of the greens. So it's up to you to find the thing of value that people want, that they know about, that they're willing to pay for, and it fills a need, and it must fill an immediate need. They must feel like they want it now if you want them to buy in these turbulent times, instead of something that sounds really lovely but they could buy a lot later. So let's look at 6 ways on how we can make the sale. How do we progress into actually getting the customer to say yes? So be the purple cow. So this is a Seth Godin quote, and I think he wrote a book about it. And the 5 things that we can really take from his book on the purple cow is: don't fight the competition. Create something that's remarkable, something that stands out from the crowd. And that is quite difficult in the modern world, and it's quite difficult to stand out. But until Apple invented the Mac, everybody thought about computers as being the same thing. But Dell, IBM, all of their computers are all pretty much of a muchness. But Apple did something completely different. So be creative. Doing stuff that's traditional just doesn't work anymore. So if you think about odd socks, there are several companies now, many companies now, that sell just odd socks, and they are a phenomenon. There's people who, and I'm one of them, who would much rather wear odd socks. I pride in my odd socks. They are blatantly, brutally odd socks, bright, colourful, in your face, and I love those. You can often tell something, a little bit about somebody's personality from the socks they're wearing, whether they're greys or whites or a bit multicolour explosives. So don't be afraid of criticism. Don't be afraid to stand out. So I'm an accountant. I'm naturally quite introverted, maybe I'm not, I don't know. Am I introverted? Is this a usual thing for an accountant to be recording bright, colourful videos and popping them on YouTube, creating a membership site for clients, creating a membership site for people who aren't clients? Yeah, maybe not. But I'm quite loud, I'm quite in your face, and I'm quite proud of the fact that we're selling and we're still making money in a crisis. And one of the things that I'm doing is I was trolled quite badly on my first 1 or 2 Facebook ads. So I've changed them. So I've softened them. So I've done some ads to free products. But ultimately what I'm trying to do is deliver value, because I know that I have a skill set and I have things I can do to help people who are struggling to make a profit, because that's what we're all about as accountants, isn't it? Is making profit, saving tax, keeping cash. So don't be afraid to stand out from the crowd and be you. People will love the authentically you and not want somebody who just, they don't want another lookalike person who just looks and behaves like somebody else. They want people who are independent. And some people will like you and some people won't like you. And that doesn't matter. We can't please everybody and we shouldn't try to please everybody. The point is, we shouldn't be afraid to stand out. And if you stand out, people remember you and they like you, they know you, they trust you, and ultimately they buy from you. Think about creating products that invite friends to use them. So products that can go viral, and Facebook is a fantastic example of a college project that turned into a global phenomenon. Create an experience that people talk about. If you go to Hamleys in London, the colour, the smell, the texture, the toy masters, there are so many the staff that are there that are teaching you how to play with the toys, showing you the toys, demonstrating the toys. There's little whirligigs flying around as you're shopping. The experience is quite exhilarating, quite exciting, and takes you back to your childhood days with their mix of new toys and traditional toys. So the Hamleys toy shop isn't actually that big when you go there. But on the top level or the 4th level, I can't remember which one it is, there's an ice cream shop and you can get, a mix of milkshakes and ice creams and sweets. And, I can't even remember if they sold sandwiches and normal food. What I remember is the colour and the variety and the childlikeness and the way it makes you feel when you go in there. Remember IKEA. Everybody knows IKEA, of course, for their furniture and for the flat pack and how difficult a flat pack is to put together without instructions. But everybody also knows about the meatballs, which has got nothing to do with the furniture. But IKEA meatballs are infamous. How many people go to IKEA? for the meatballs, or say they're going to IKEA for the meatballs. So think about these examples and think about how you can do this in your business. Now, you're also going to tell me that IKEA is a global phenomenon. You're not in that marketplace. Facebook is global. You're not in that marketplace. Apple is global. Dell's global. We can't compete with these kind of businesses and these kind of brands. But all of these businesses and brands started in many of our lifetimes in college rooms or garages or little workshops. They all started tiny within the last 50 or 60 years and have grown to the levels that they're at now within our lifetime. And if they can do it, there's no reason why you can't do it either. And a lot of these also started in a crisis, in a recession. So focus on the transformation. So tip number 2 is to focus on the transformation. You start here. This is where your customer is starting. You're going to help them with this to achieve this by eliminating this pain or this discomfort or this thing that they don't like, and you're going to end here. So you need to talk to your customer through that transformation process. And if they understand how you're going to, or how you are going to take them from where they are now to where they want to be, from sad to happy, from unfulfilled to fulfilled, however that phrasing works in your business. If you can take them from sad to happy, from where they are now to where they want to be, it makes the price less interesting. The price becomes less of the issue if you're confident that somebody can deliver the outcome. And that's what's really important if we want to be able to make profits in a crisis. Now, tip number 3 is ask questions. And this came from a friend of mine, Helen Sparks, who I was talking to last week. And you've got to get to the client's most basic desire. So in my profession as an accountant, our clients want more profit. Why do they want more profit? They want to pay themselves more. Why do they want to pay themselves more? So they have cash left over at the end of the month. Why do they need cash left over at the end of the month? So they can cover extra costs. Why have they got extra costs? Because the son is at uni in London. Why do you want to pay for those instead of making him pay for it himself? Because you don't want him to have to worry about that. So actually, this is my why, because I need to run a business. I've needed to show up and be present and serve my customers even in the crisis. There may have been days when I've wanted to stay in bed and not come out from under the covers. Actually, that's not really me, but it doesn't really happen. But there are lots of people that do feel like that. And why do I do this? Because I have expensive children. I have expensive children. One of them's in university in London. One of them has had a spinal fusion and has EDS. So she is struggling with college and doesn't go to work, doesn't do an awful lot at the moment because of the pain that she's in. So ultimately, I am the breadwinner for our family. So it's up to me to make sure that everybody is happy and fed and watered, and Cameron goes to uni, and Casey, my daughter, is secure and looked after and can find her own way in her own time. And it's important for my husband because he's at home with me self-isolating. So if you understand the why and get to the root desires of your customer, it's much easier to sell the story of the transformation that you offer, because you can take them from where they are to where they want to be. Now, tip number 4 comes from Amanda C. Watts. She is a marketing genius who helps accountants get their message out to their clients. So she focuses purely on accountants. Now, she says, don't sell, focus on helping. So if you feel really, really uncomfortable with selling and it feels too much like selling, then do talking and think about how you can help your customer. Talk through the problem, talk through the solutions, talk through the options. So each time you're suggesting, perhaps we can do this, perhaps we can do that, perhaps we can do the other, perhaps this is an option, perhaps that's an option. And what this does is it helps to frame helps position you in your customer's mind as the problem solver, as the solution provider. So you tell them stories and case studies of other people who've had similar experiences and how you've helped those other people. And so you're not selling, you're helping, you're demonstrating, you're showing and showcasing what you can do without directly selling and directly pitching. And again, it's all about the outcome. It's all about the transformation. And if you can help your customer understand why you can help them get to their solution, again, they're going to be more likely to buy from you. Matt Thomas, another good friend. I'm his content academy, or his group called the In Crowd. So Matt's perception on sales is to sell them what they want, but give them what they need. So people often think they need, in a business, for example, more profit, but they don't really need more profit. The profit is the thing that's going to give them what they want. It's the tool that's going to give them the outcome. What they actually want is more take-home pay. What they actually want is less time worrying about their business financials. What they actually want is to be able to know confidently that they've got enough money put aside for their taxes, and they know what their tax liabilities are going to be, and they know that they're covered, and they're not going to get a nasty surprise at tax time. Ultimately, what they want is a profitable business so that they don't have to worry about it and it runs itself, and they've got the money to do the things they want to do with the people that they want to be with. So they don't come to me asking for more profit, or sometimes they do. Sometimes they tell me they want more profit. When you talk to them and you get down to the root of it, what they actually want is more time out, or more time with the family, or more time for a hobby, or more time to do the things that they want. Sometimes they want to write a book. Sometimes they want to take a year out. And all of that ultimately relies on generating profit and having a sustainable income that funds that objective. So sell them what they want, but give them what they need. Most importantly, this is my husband and my son, a lockdown haircut. So most importantly, my husband says, and this is the most important thing of any kind of sale whatsoever, is ask for the sale. And quite oftentimes we go in, we do the pitch, and we leave. Or we do the pitch, we talk to the conversation, and we stop. What we don't do is get to the end of the conversation and say, ask for the sale. We don't ask them if they're going to sign on the dotted line. We don't put the contract in front of them and ask them to sell. So when you're having that conversation with them, it's the most important thing of that conversation is getting to the end of it and asking for the sale right there, right then, when they're hot, when they're warmed up, when they're motivated, when they're talking to you, and ask for the sale. Take their card details, give them the invoice, whatever it is that you do to get that sale over to them. Whether it's processing the quote, do the quote with them online, build the quote up with the services in there that they're looking for, and then ask for the sale. So have that conversation while the customer is hot. Now, this is a fantastic picture of a great reminder of never to ask my husband to give you a haircut during lockdown. So he was supposed to give Cameron a military short back and sides, and actually gave him a skinhead. So that mohawk lasted for all of about 5 minutes. Cameron was so horrified with it that he shaved it off again straight afterwards. So now he has hair. This was right at the beginning of lockdown. But he lived for about 3 or 4 weeks in a baseball cap because he was mortified that he was pretty much shaved bald. And of course, Paul, being the perpetual practical joker, thought it was really funny. Cameron, poor boy, was horrified, but it wasn't going anywhere, so it didn't really matter. He took it in all good spirits, thank goodness. So, when to say no? Sometimes we don't want the sale and we've just got to say no. Sometimes the client is the wrong fit. They're just not the right fit for you. So pass them on to somebody else. It's really good if you've got someone else that you can pass them on to. So as accountants, sometimes there are clients that come to me, or people who come to me potentially, and we'll have our discovery call, and it's quite clear that they're just not the right fit. Or, it's a teeny tiny business and they're going to be quite needy and they need a lot of support. And there are other accountants that are really good at doing that. Our Profit Hackers group is really good at doing that. But as an accounting service, our service would be too expensive for them to be able to afford to pay me to help them to do that. Now, there are also some that can't pay. So there are some clients that just can't afford you. So what can you do to help them get to a place where they can afford you? So perhaps you have a lower price program or a service or a product where they could get a light version of you to help them build up to where they become your ideal client. And then there are the won't pays. So let's move me out the way a bit here. So there are the won't pays. The ones who want discounts, they won't pay the price that you've asked for. They can afford it, but they don't want to. And these people are ruthless. They're probably brilliant business people, but as customers, they're price sensitive, they're high maintenance, they focus more on price than value. Walk away and find someone else. A price sensitive, needy client is really difficult and draining to look after. And you can tell who these are from the offset. So it's a difficult conversation to have, or a difficult mindset sometimes to put yourself in. But don't discount, walk away. You don't need that needy sale, that needy customer. It's just not worth it. Spend your time and effort to go and get out more profitable customers and people that are happy with what you're going to charge and are willing to pay the price that you're willing to charge. So remember that donut that we looked at earlier, having the right product for the right person that somebody is willing to pay for. Don't take one of the blue donut rings out and discount it and make yourself uncomfortable. Now, there are a few reasons why we should not discount. So do you discount? Let me know in the comments below. Do you discount? Does it work for you? Does it not work for you? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to see whether it does work and whether it does provide you with an income that's comfortable. So I'm just going to tell you a few reasons why I think it doesn't work. So I think discounting is a really bad idea. It reduces your profit margin and potentially puts your business in jeopardy. It also alienates all of your clients who have paid the full price. It damages your brand with a bargain basement feel, and then it delays the sale. So in the very time that you're trying to create more sales by discounting, sometimes it has the opposite effect. And if you're discounting, people wait for the bigger discount. So they don't buy your product. If they didn't buy it at the high price, they then don't buy it at the lower price. What do? Do you keep on discounting your price? It again attracts the wrong type of customer, the price sensitive, the super needy. It's the bargain hunter that you are chasing, and you really don't want a portfolio full of bargain hunting clients, unless that's your industry. It creates distrust. If you can conveniently start discounting, people start wondering how much you were charging before and were you overcharging or profiteering before. So it can, again, go against you and harm your brand. If you're competing on price, the only place to go is down, and it becomes a race to the bottom, and then it's just a matter of time before there's no profit in your business and there's nowhere for you to go. And of course, we do want to avoid that as far as we possibly can. And then, of course, it's hard to raise prices. If you've discounted and discounted and discounted, it's hard to raise prices again if people are used to the discount because they're used to the cheap service that you're offering. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be known as being cheap. And if you want to be known as being cheap, maybe that's, like a $1, £1 bargain basement product. Maybe that's the right business model for you, but I'm suspecting it's probably not. So how can we avoid discounting? We help the client understand the value. So we've already talked about how we can help the client understand the value. So we need to go through that exercise on understanding value and sharing that with our clients and our prospects so that they understand the value. Then add the value and make yourself indispensable. So I would much rather add more to a service and deliver more for that value than diminish my value and discount it by offering less. Now, in the pandemic, so let me just sort of disclaim that sort of very slightly. In the pandemic, we have had to cut some clients' prices, but not because we're discounting what we're doing less work for them. So for clients who have been radically impacted by COVID-19, we have had to cut our prices because the volume of transactions that we're looking after has massively diminished. So the bookkeeping side of our business has depleted just a little bit because of the number of clients who've had reduced numbers of transactions. So because we do dynamic pricing for most of these larger clients that are high growth, when their volumes go up, it works in our favour and we carry on charging more for their services as their volume increases. But when it goes down, we've had to charge less for our bookkeeping. So that's had an impact on our income. It's also meant that as a client, they are happier to continue to work with us, and they're happy to pay their baseline price for their fixed prices, their fixed services, because they know that we've been responsible and we've reflected their difficulties in our pricing. So we've kind of shared the load a little bit with them. So then when we've done more work for them, because we've helped them furlough staff, we've helped them apply for CBILS loans, we've helped them with forecasting and things like that, we can then make a decision as to whether we charge for that extra time we've invested in their business, or whether that's just part of our service to help them get out of this crisis. So, and the same will happen in your business. So don't discount your product. Either add more value, do more for it, create the value in your client's business, because ultimately you want them to continue to be able to run and operate and to be able to use you in the future. So by protecting their income, you're also protecting your income. Think about your product range. And number 3. So number 3 is to then focus on the transformation and make your client an advocate. So the more you can do for your client, the better it is. And don't forget to ask them for the referral. So a good example of this is I've been doing Facebook ads on my own, probably for about a year, and Facebook ads not really working for me. I thought I knew what I was doing. Really, I know I don't know what I'm doing. I know I'm barely scratching the surface of what Facebook ads is all about and how it can work for me. So I bit the bullet and I invested some money into someone who is helping me with my Facebook ads. Now, within 3 sessions, we're already seeing a difference. We're already seeing results. And the first thing he did to me, or for me yesterday, at the end of the conversation, he said, I hope this has been helpful. I said, yes, absolutely fantastic. It's amazing. We're so much further forward than I was. Probably done more for me in 3 hours of work than I had in 12 months of me trying to figure it out beforehand. And he said, can you give me a testimonial? If I send you a link to my Facebook page, can you give me a Facebook testimonial? So he is making me an advocate of his product. He even gave me, it would be really cool if you could say this, if of course that's how you feel, because there's a specific line that he wants me to say in my testimonial, which is exactly what he's done for me. It's not the way I would have worded it, but it's the way that I can word it in my review to help him build his business. So I should be doing that today. And you can be doing the same. If you've done something positive for a client, if you've helped them in any way before the crisis, during the crisis, as we come out of the crisis, get your clients to become your advocates. Get testimonials, get product reviews, get personal reviews, get case studies. Do what you can to help make it easier for the next person to buy from you, because you've seen, or they've seen, how much you've done for other people. Now, people are much less likely to ask for a discount on your price if you've got a bank full of testimonials talking about the wonderful things that you've done. So you could also increase your product range. So as I mentioned earlier, perhaps somebody can't afford to work with you at your full price. Maybe you can do something at a low price. So if you are a tutor or an online entrepreneur and you've got a skill set which is a higher grade product and people are paying a lot of money for, perhaps you can do a low grade product. Doesn't necessarily mean it's got less value, but it's a lower price product to get people in the door, to get them to start spending. And that, for example, is what Profit Hackers is. So in our world, Profit Hackers is a membership club for businesses or business owners who want more profit, more time, and more cash in their business. So we can help them do that because we're accountants. That's our day job. That's what we help our clients do. But they don't necessarily want to become clients yet, or they can't necessarily, maybe they can't afford to become clients. Maybe they don't want to become our clients because they actually have a really cool accountant that they really like working with, but their accountant doesn't work in the same way that we do on profit, cash, and time. And that's absolutely fine. But if I can help 1,000 people at £40 a month instead of one person at £1,000 a month, look at the difference in my revenue and my profitability. And it creates a pool of advocates of the product. So sharpen your position. So I would much rather be a Harrods than a Lidl. So we are, as accountants, comfortably expensive because we have to, you're employing expensive individuals, you're employing qualified accountants, you've got overheads, you've got training costs, you've got development costs. So one of the biggest challenges when you first move from corporate, or when people are approaching you and they're in a crisis, to be able to maintain your position and not discount, you need to be known as a Harrods, not a Lidl. So nobody would go into Harrods and ask for a discount, would they? I mean, you probably wouldn't go into Lidl and ask for a discount, but then you don't need to. You know what you're getting for the price that you're paying in either place. And then build your brand with testimonials and case studies. So think about the brands that never discount, the Apple, the Louis Vuitton, the Tesla. You would never dream, and you wouldn't get a discount from any of those suppliers. But what they are is exclusive, they're high end, high outcome, high delivery, high customer experience, and nobody minds paying their prices because they get value from it. In fact, one of my clients has a Tesla, and we're having a conversation at the moment about how to buy another Tesla into the business. The business is doing extraordinarily well despite the crisis, and he's bringing another Tesla into the business to use as a company car for one of his staff members. Now, this staff member is bubbling with excitement. He's literally about to explode at the thought of his old car, which in his words is dying a slow death, being replaced by a Tesla. And nobody cares about the price. They don't care about the price they're going to pay. All they want is the Tesla, because the Tesla is the coolest car on the block. So it's an interesting way of looking at things. We're in a crisis and he's just about to get a Tesla. So think about what you've got, the product, the service, the thing that you deliver, and how you can become the Tesla of your industry. Innovative and creative, and something that people want and are not bothered about paying the price for. In fact, they want to pay the price for it because everybody knows they've paid the price for it. So it's a real symbol of status, isn't it? Quite an interesting one. Got a love-hate relationship with Tesla. So the acid test is if you can't explain to a customer who paid the full price why another customer didn't without being embarrassed, then it's not right. So he's talking about discounting. So if you can't justify to one customer who paid the full price why another customer paid a lower price, then it's just not right to discount, and you've devalued yourself. So how do you feel about selling now? Does it feel any different? Does it feel a little more comfortable? Does it feel a little less sleazy? I hope so. Certainly it was a good reminder for me when I was writing this presentation about why we need to price in a certain way. So if you have any questions, ask them in the comments below. Love to see what you think. Love to see how you're feeling. Love to see how you're experiencing sales at the moment. Have you taken a nosedive? Are you holding your own, or are you booming? Let me know in the comments below. Now, if you enjoyed this, please like the masterclass, give me a thumbs up, or click on the like button below. Let me know what your takeaways are. What are the 3 lessons you learned, and what are the 3 actions that you're going to take? And if you enjoyed this today, please let me know if there's anybody else who wants to join our Profit Hackers group. Now, you can find me in Profit Hackers at www.caseron.co.uk Profit Hackers. So I'm going to wish you a fabulous and enjoyable and profitable day, developing more profit, more cash, and more time. See you again soon. Bye for now.